Hi everybody, hope that you have been well. So I was reading about the story of the Centurion, and I hope that's how it's pronounced. I don't know if it's Centurion or Centurion, but anyway, we move. I was reading about that story, and the Lord just kept placing in my heart to read about the Centurion. Who is even the Centurion? I have read this story for years, since Sunday school, Jesus healing the Centurion servant, but I've never even actually known who is a Centurion. Whether tuko wangapi, tell me in the comments if you knew or you did not know. But a Centurion was a Roman officer who was in charge of 100 people during Jesus' time. So the Jews at the time were being oppressed by the Romans. So this Centurion, his servant gets sick, and he sends Jewish elders to go to Jesus to request him to go and heal his servant. So just that right there was the first thing that told me, okay, this Centurion, he's different. He cares so much for his servant that he is even having enough faith to believe God on behalf of that servant. But the part now that struck me was when the Jewish elders were going to ask Jesus to come and heal the servant. They said that this man has been so good to us, so good to the Jewish nation, that he even used his own resources to build us a synagogue. So the centurions at that time, they were rich, but they were also feared and hated, majority of them, because of course you're not going to love your oppressor. So majority of centurions were feared, they were hated, they were despised, but they were wealthy and well-to-do in the society. Now what struck me was that this centurion, with his authority, he chose to do things differently. He's come to this country, he's come to this nation as an oppressor, but he chooses to do things differently. He chooses to be kind, so kind to his servants that he even has enough faith that God is going to heal them. He chooses to be so good to the people he's been sent to oppress that he's even building them out of his own pocket. A synagogue. A synagogue was like a church for them to worship. And the message that reverberated in my spirit was just choose to be different and always choose to do the right thing. The path that God will have you walking on may not be the popular path. It may not be the trendy path. But if it's the right path, please know that it is God sending you down this path. I'm sure the Centurion, being the one building synagogues and as he's there as the oppressor and being so kind and being so good with his servants, may not have been what his friends of his position or caliber were doing, but he chose that this is what God has placed in my spirit and this is what I'm going to do. And he had so much faith that Jesus said that not even in Israel have I seen this much faith, because when Jesus was about to reach the house, the centurion said, I'm not even worthy for you to come into my house. Just speak a word and my servant is going to be healed. He had so much faith in Jesus, so much faith that I don't even need to see you. I don't need you to give me signs and wonders. I don't need you to send me somebody to tell me, God, I don't need you to show me how I'll get this promotion. I don't need you to show me how I'm going to get healed. I don't need you to show me how I'm going to get this baby. Yes, my uterus, they're telling me it is not viable. I don't know how you're going to do this, God, and I don't need to see it. I just know that you are able to do it. That type of faith. So this video was simply about lessons from the centurion, a gentile, a man that should have been feared and hated, but he turned it around and he made himself a man that was so loved that it was the Jews, the people he came to oppress, wanaenda kumtetea to Jesus, that they said that this man deserves it. That's what they told Jesus. This man deserves what he's asking for, because he had been just that good, that exceptional. He had stood out that much to the Jews that he had come to oppress. He had stood out that much even to his enemies, because ideally the Jews would have been his enemies, that he was so exceptionally good that he stood out even to people that ordinarily he wouldn't have stood out to. And so I want to ask you today, don't blend in, stand out. Don't follow the popular path. Follow the path that God has you on. It may not be popular, but in the end, you are going to see the fruits of what God is asking you to do. So just stay faithful on the path. Be different. Being different, oh my goodness, I am learning as I'm growing and just growing in the faith and growing in Christ and maturing even just as a person, that being different, it is the best thing you can ever do with your life. Don't ever struggle to fit in with the crowd and to do what everybody else is doing. Always try your best to stand out, to be different. And I mean being different while being in alignment with God. Now, I'm not saying be different in other senses of the word. I'm talking about being different while being in alignment with God. Because if you're in alignment with God, automatically you will just be different. You will just be different if you align yourself to his will and what he's asking you to do. So don't shy away from, I'll be the odd one out, you know, not other people are not doing this. It's not the popular or trendy thing right now. Don't shy away. You do the right thing that God has put in your heart to do, and you will see the fruits of your goodness. I pray that you are blessed.